Hopefully this is staying on. Hello everyone. Allison is having issues with the microphone, so she will not be here today to introduce me. But hopefully everyone can see my video, and feel free to use the chat oh, I see. Hi, Ming. Okay, perfect. So everyone can see me or hear me, hopefully. Okay, so this is going to be quite an interactive session. Since building a website, there's so much to it that it does not actually make sense for me to have like a giant like exactly this is how you're going to have to do it, because you're gonna make your own decision. You're gonna want different things. Things are going to come up. Things are going to change. So I'm going to get started with assuming nothing. I'm sure some people here have a website already, and some are looking to get a website. But I'm going to assume that we don't have anything, we don't know anything. So I'm going to start from the very beginning of how to choose a domain, how to choose a platform, how to connect that domain to the platform, and what exactly does that mean. So if anyone have any questions, or you want to object and say, I don't want to hear more about this, I already know all of this, let me know in the chat box. But if not, let me get started. And I'm going to share my screen with you all. Okay, so first, just a couple of slides, just as an introduction for myself, who I am. My name is Ming Yang, and I'm the founder and CEO of Orchard, and we provide personalized technology coaching and support for people that didn't grow up with technology. So pretty much exactly what I'm doing right now, but on a very one-on-one level, and it's tailored to exactly the individual's needs are. And we do everything from building a website to advertising on Facebook, or learning to use Gmail for the first time, having trouble with Dropbox. So the whole spectrum is everything technology related. So today we're going to start by choosing a domain. So the first thing about having a website is you need to have a domain name. And the domain name is the address that people go to you. So let's say my book website is themingyang.com. When I type in themingyang.com, this is my domain name. Although this is not a book. This was the website that I used when I was applying to graduate school, which I've not updated it in years, but I've just left it here. But this is the address that I buy. So once I have this address, I will actually connect it to a website in the back. So I don't get both of it at the same time. They're two separate things. And what I will have to do is build a website, having a kind of a, not publish it, having like a dummy website that tagged along with a whole bunch of letters and characters, and then connected to this clean domain name, this address that I bought. So the place to buy these domain names is well, there are a lot of different ways that we could do this. I'm actually going to go back to home, GoDaddy.com. And one of the popular websites for buying domain names is called GoDaddy. So there's GoDaddy, Namecheap. You can buy it directly from a lot of these platforms such as Wordpress, Wix. But in this case, I like to use GoDaddy because it gives you more option to see what domains is there available for you, how to choose the right one. And it also allows you to add a lot of other security features that you will definitely need. So let's start with, let's say my name is Ming Yang. So right now just Ming Yang, and I want to find a domain. So first I need to check if mingyang.com, if that is the domain name that I want, is available. So at the very top, I would type in mingyang.com. And it shows me that mingyang.com is taken, and then there is a broker service fee. That means that someone else owns it. So if I actually go to mingyang.com, this means that the person has not connected to a website. So this means that the domain is owned by someone else, but they haven't connected to a site. So the site cannot be reached. there's nothing behind the address. It's like driving to a location and then see just like a 1 acre of land. There's no house there. But this option here for the service, the broker service fee, is GoDaddy saying that we could have our own people reach out to the owner to try to help buy that domain for you. And the cost could vary. We don't really know. People buy domains for up to thousands and hundreds of dollars depending on how important your domain name is, but the fee itself, so for the commission for the person and GoDaddy to reach out to this person, the owner, is $119.99. So it depends on how much you want the domain name. For the most part, I would say if you're publishing your first book, if this is your first time creating a website to have a portfolio for your book, it might not be worth the money to get the perfect domain name. But now let's say that you've already published, let's say 3 to 4 books, and you are looking your next book to be on the bestseller list, and you want to make it national, and you want people to, when they go on your website, that is exactly like mingyang.com, then in that case it might be worth it to get something like this. But for the most part, let's say mingyang.co, something else.io, these will be fine. People will not want to buy your book or have a bad impression of your book just because you have a slightly different domain name. But that being said, some of the other ways to get around having still a .com, which for the most part most people like because it's clean, it's usual, it's normal, is you can add a the in front of it, which is what I did when I was buying my domain name. I added a the Ming Yang, or you can add a mingyang.com or iamingyang.com. Hey, a mingyang.com is available. It depends on what your preferences are, of course. But then going back to mingyang.com, if you're looking to spice up your domain name a little and you want to do .tv, .blog, probably not .today, probably not .website, but let's say your book is about technology, mingyang.tech. Let's say your book is about I forgot what is the study of rocks. I always forget that word, but you can do mingyang.rock, mingyang.services.news if you're a journalist. So there's a lot of different options for you to choose from. But let me just go ahead and click on mingyang.life to have an example to show you. So once you add it to cart on the right hand side over here, I'm going to, did I add 2? Oh no, automatically it goes for a 2-year renewal, which is totally fine. You can do 1 year, we can do 2 years, but in this case I'm just going to do 1 year and we're not going to actually check out. But pay attention to this box down here that says standard SSL. This is a question that I get a lot most of the time, and especially for people that had never had a website before, and maybe actually a lot of people that currently have a website but they're not aware of this. But I'm going to go back to my website, this portfolio website that I have here. Notice that on the very top where the address says themingyang.com on the left, it says not secure. And for the most part, let me go back to my Google Slides over here. On the very left, there is this lock button right here that says connection is secure. Same as GoDaddy, same as this Crowdcast. Same as Wix. Almost all websites has this little lock button. And it's not because your website is really not secure. It's only because you don't have something called an Ssl certificate. So most people don't really pay attention to this when they're creating their own website, but it's actually quite crucial because when your customers, your readers go on your website, it's really because it's rare to see websites being not secure, not having that certificate. When you do see it, it's quite prominent to the eye that when I come to it and when I look at themingyang.com, my eyes is going to notice not secure. And that might freak a lot of people out. A lot of people that don't know that this just means that you bought a certificate from GoDaddy.com or Namecheap.com or any of these service provider. They may not know and they may think that you're a spam. That's not a good look for an author, especially where you're trying to establish yourself. So we definitely want to buy an SSL certificate, even though they're kind of expensive. Whereas the domain name sometimes is like $10 a year for the first year, of course. But the SSL certificate could be just by itself $70. But you definitely want to buy that for sure. And then coming down here, the website builder free trial, you could go for it. I would, for the most part, I wouldn't go for it because I like to use something that I know I'm going to continue using and I know what the price is. So it's a free trial. So that means after the first month, they're going to start charging you for it. While this is okay for most other things that you can try for a first month and see if you like it. With website building, it's one of those things where you want to make sure whatever you start learning, try to make it so that that's the thing that you're going to continue on using, because the cost, the mental energy, the knowledge, the cost of learning a new platform is so high that you want to try to keep on using the same thing. So you wouldn't spend all your energy for 1 month free using a platform and then find out, oh wait, I actually need to pay like $100 per month to continue using this. Well, I already spent all this time learning how to use this specific platform. So that's what we want to try to avoid. So even though it is free, I'm going to delete it. I want to go back here with the SSL certificate really quick with the number of certificates. So how this works is for every SSL certificate you buy, it can be applied to individual websites. So if you buy 3 certificates, you can have 3 websites that you apply this to. So in here, you can purchase one, it'll automatically be added to this domain, but you can buy additional 2 more if you have other websites that you want to add it to. And down here for ultimate domain protection and security, I would definitely go for the highest security. And it's one of those things where like, do I really need it? Yeah, because there are a lot of very simple hacks. Simple hacks such as I wouldn't say viruses, but the way that a lot of hackers will hack into websites, and these protections kind of cover all of those. Not to say that you cannot get hacked later on by more sophisticated hackers, but it covers a lot of the blanket operation. So I would definitely go for that. And this is, I added this earlier, so I'm just going to delete. And then here you can continue to cart, you can check out, and then you can buy your domain. In which I'm going to now continue on to, actually, I'm going to check to see if anyone has any questions so far. Do these choices only come with GoDaddy? No. So it doesn't come with only GoDaddy. So other platforms such as Namecheap. So I'm just going to show you guys this, namecheap.com. This is another website or another service providers that you can buy these domain names from, and you can also buy these, the SSL certificates. But it's just that every platform is different for how you purchase these, and so I like to go with GoDaddy. It's one of the largest provider. I like using it. Let me see if let's see, feel free to tell me, can you list some other vendors? Yeah, so Namecheap is another one. They're cheap. They're Namecheap because they are cheaper, because they don't come with a lot of the security features, or more like they break up the security features so that you only kind of add what you need. I see them as kind of like the Spirit airline. You buy your seats, you buy your luggage, you add it, you don't get water, you have to pay for that. Whereas GoDaddy is more comprehensive. Okay, this is the entire package. So you just buy this security package and you're good to go. No other questions. Okay, let me continue. So buying domain, choosing. All right, so let's go to selecting a platform. So there are so many different ways of creating the website. So when I mean platform is how you're going to create the website. So we're not going to go to the complicated writing your own code, all of that, but just doing the widget, the drag and drop platform. So there is some of the most popular one. There is Wix, there is WordPress, there's Squarespace. Although Squarespace is not so much of you build your own website kind of managing on your own. It's more like you pay a much larger amount and then they give you pretty much everything. Squarespace is a good choice if you have more cash on hand, if you have more of the like you can afford to do that. Although I would imagine for a lot of others we're kind of low on this and we're trying to trying to make some money off of some this thing that I put so much time and energy into. So I would definitely recommend going for something like Wix and WordPress because you can also make a lot of changes on your own. I personally like Wix the best because I feel that we call it the user interface, and this is something that you'll also hear a lot of the times as well, especially while you're building your own website. The user interface, which is the view of how this feels. So like, for example, this is wix.com, and then we're going to go to WordPress, which I don't know. Back in the days, it was not wordpress.com. It was something very different. Oh, I do not want to do this. It automatically logged me in. So let me see if I can do this again without logging me in. Oh yes, okay, keeps on logging me in. So let me log out here really quick to show you guys. How do I log out? My site's no. So this is one of the things that I'm talking about. This is why I don't use WordPress. Oh, there we go, log out. That I don't feel that we call it the UI, the user interface, is as intuitive and as helpful as Wix. And also I find that Wix has a lot more templates by other people, which is your golden nuggets. You want to use templates because none of us are professional website designers, and the templates really helps us make a beautiful website, gives us an idea of what to look for, and it'll really help train our eyes. So this is wordpress.com, this is Wix. I'm going to go with Wix, and that's what I'm going to talk about today, and I really find that to be a lot more easier to use as we go on. So I'm going to sign in, and I'm actually going to create a new account with you guys to show you what that process will look like. So I'm going to do actually this, which I do not have an account. I believe I have a lot of email addresses. Okay, I do have a website. All right, let me create a new one actually. Let me move this to trash. Okay, so I'm going to create a new website. So notice how all of these websites, they are being displayed to us in a kind of a form of like a project. And that's because that's exactly how it works with Wix, that we can create multiple websites and you can actually choose, let's say I don't want to use this website. I actually like this version better, and then I want to connect my domain with this specific website. So you can do that, or you could create a folder of multiple websites, however it is, up to you. And for a lot of people that they freelance their Wix skills to, let's say, charge you, let's say $200 an hour for building a website, or let's say $1,000 for building your website. They will have multiple of these websites down here that they manage, and then they will just share that website with you, but they connect it to your domain, and that's pretty much how they work. So you can do the exact same thing by clicking on this Create New Sites button. Which I think, while this is, we're selecting this, I think the other question that I get asked a lot is also, how do I decide whether I want someone to create my website or I do it myself? I think it depends on a lot of different factors. Of course, one, cost is the number one thing. If you can't afford it, you can always have someone create your website and then keep in connection with, keep in communication with them about what you want and what you don't want. The beauty of building your own website is you have a lot more flexibility about what you put on. One of the most troublesome thing that I always hear is, I have this website from 5 years ago. Some person created it for me, and now I need to change it, or I need to move it to a new domain, and I can't find this person anymore, and I don't know what to do. And all my content is on this website, and I don't know how to get it off. And that's a big hassle. So it's always good to, even if you are paying someone else to do it, know how to edit your own website. Like, go through this entire process of creating your domain, creating your website, connecting that, starting with the templates that we're going to go over in a little bit, and start editing it. And then as you find that you are spending too much time in creating your website, that you will rather just have someone else do the kind of the menial task for you, then you do that. But if this person goes away and you need to change something on the website, you could still put something together, or you know how to access your content, and that is the number one most important thing. So let me check the questions if there's anyone. Do all these .com alternative work the same way? Like, does the .tech have some functionality? So someone asked, does the .com, .tech, the domain name have the same functionality as .com? Yes, it does not make a difference. It's just absolutely consumer perception. Like, when I type it in, am I typing in the mingyang.com or the mingyang.tech? Do I think it's cool or not cool? Totally that. What are the platforms again? Let me type it on here. I think if Allison could have her microphone, that would be a lot better. But let me just type it in here for you guys. Namecheap.com, GoDaddy.com, Wix, WordPress, Squarespace. Wix. Yeah, exactly. So Nancy says Wix is really user friendly. I totally agree. So let's get back to this. So the first time you're creating a new website on Wix, this is one of the beauty, is they will ask you what type of website this is. So it doesn't technically matter too much which you click on. You can always change it, but this just tailor what type of templates they give you. So I'm gonna click on portfolio and CV for now, and then you could, of course, answer some questions and get it designed for you. Of course, let me go to the edit templates first. For the edit templates, I always search for exactly verbatim what I want. So if I'm an author, I will type author. I'm gonna go for author portfolio, and boom. Select one of these, change some text, and you're good to go. Not really. Of course, you're gonna have to put a little bit more time into it, but it depends on what you're looking for. So as you can see, that all of these have a different vibe to them. Very modern, more like a antique, like T.S. Hewitt. There's a very cool name for an author, best-selling poet. I'm gonna actually go with this one, best-selling author store, since it has a store in it, and I would like to be able to have people buy my book. So it doesn't really matter which one you choose, because you can technically edit everything, but I want to have the one with the store in it, and so that I don't have to do all of that again. So I'm gonna click on edit and choose this one, and I can always change the color, change the text, change the background photo, all of that. It's completely customizable. I can build these completely from scratch as well, but I won't do that because that takes a little bit too much time. So I'm not going to go into too deep into this is like the perfect website this is exactly how your website should be, because as you can see that there are a lot of different options. There are a lot of different aesthetic for what you're going for, and it won't be helpful to you to see exactly what I do, but I do want to give you the tips and the tricks to get into building your perfect website. So if you're using Wix for the first time, it might feel a little bit confusing because there's so many buttons, there's so many things, but do not worry. The number one most important thing, especially when you're using a new platform, whether it's Wix or WordPress or Squarespace, is to use the thing that you know and just use it and ignore everything else. And then as you go, as you explore more, as you learn more, then you learn to use 20% of all the buttons, 30%, 50%. But don't let not knowing where to click first stop you. The first thing you should think about is what kind of page you want to look like. So a lot of times what's really helpful in website design, although you are your own designer now, even though you're not doing any of the coding, any of the kind of the color, all of that, but you are your own designer. So the number one thing, what I always do is I take a piece of paper, and for every page that I have, I will draw out exactly what I want it to look like, because this helps me speed up the time that I use in dragging around everything and see, how does that work? How does that work? But if I already have an idea of what exactly I want, I can just match up exactly what I have on this page to this, and I know what my goals are. So just to give you an idea as an example, usually what I do is I just draw a giant box like this, which is kind of redundant because the paper is also rectangle, but you know what? I do this. So I draw a giant box, and let's say that for me, I do want the very top to have my name, and then the different options, and I can just use these as a placeholder. But let's say in the middle, even though I'm looking at this because I like this layout, and I think this is the closest to what I'm looking for, but I don't really want to say award-winning book by Joel Brown. Like I don't want to do that. Let's say hypothetically. Let's say I want to actually display the book right here. I want people to be able to buy it. Like this is the buying page, which I don't think it's a good idea, but I'm just saying as an example. So let's say I want that. This is what I would draw. I would draw out a giant block of the book. I know what it is. I would use lines to represent, okay, this is the giant title that I want. These are some of the information, including price. And then this will be, let's say like a buy button. Not saying that this is a good idea for first page, it's not. But as an example, these are the things that helps me really speed up the process for displaying what I want in here on the computer. Because once you get started with building your website, you're going to find that most of your time is going to be spent moving around things. Do I want this? Do I want that? How does this look? Do I really? And that's just going to waste 70% of your time. So having something like this and using pen and paper to figure out what you want first before you put it on the website, it's going to help you save a lot of time, because this is a lot easier to redraw and kind of redo than the website itself, especially if you're not really fluent yet with how to put things together on Wix, for example. So let's go over the little widgets really quick. Let me see if there's any questions. Okay, no questions so far. Can I move a website created on Wix to other hosting services? Unfortunately, Mike, no, I don't believe so. Yeah, that's kind of, there might be a way to export the code, and then you would put it onto, let's say, Heroku as an example, but that gets a lot more complicated because the website, Wix hosts the website and have a platform for you to develop your website in a kind of the real world. Without Wix, what we have to do is we have to build the website itself and then host it on some other service, and then connect it to the domain. So the fact that they do both of those things together for you is really nice. But what I was saying with exporting the code is you can potentially export the code, which is building the website itself, from Wix. So it's not like all the pretty stuff. There might be some mismatch. There might be some messing up with the formatting. And then putting it onto a service like, let's say, Heroku, which hosts your website or hosts your applications. Let me go back to here. So let's go to the left, and then let's explore what each one of these things is, which I would definitely recommend that you explore what these things are, because even if I show you this is how you create a page, there's so many buttons that it's going to be really hard to remember. So first, at the very top, we have menus and we have pages. So here we see which one of these pages that I have. So here I see that the site menu at the very top, I have the home, I have the books and the press, blah, 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 blah. And then these are, oh, by the way, these are categories or folders, if you will. And on the sign up and logins, we have the sign up form, login form, which is really nice that they already have these for you. And all you have to do is just change how it looks, the text. Events page, so you could have an event, news and events. This is buried in this website somewhere. And we also have the store page and the members page. So you can go ahead and check out any one of these if you'd like, but you can also add a new page if you would like. So this member page is if that person has an account with you, which doesn't really make too much sense, but it's there. The functionality is there, and that's the number one thing. We want to have the functionality already included in our website, as opposed to trying to piece all of that together, which you can, but it would just take more time. Let's go to the second widget. The second is background. So notice how for this part right here, this is a giant picture, and once we scroll down, it stops. We can change the background to this picture or this picture, or if you see, notice that this very bottom right here, there's a little video camera looking like white icon. This indicates that this is a video, and it's really nice to have a video as a landing page background, because it creates the movement, creates more a feeling of this is live, as you guys already know that you want more dynamic in the way that your reader interacts with you. That let's say that I actually personally really like this. So I'm going to actually select this. But this is what it will look like. You can also, by the way, select the different backgrounds and filter it by the color. You can just have it completely a black color, or images, or, I'm gonna close this for now. Images. Oh, you can upload your own image, of course, or videos. You can upload that, or you can use their own. But let me close this up really quick. So let me change this background for you really quick. So once I click on this background right here, this menu is going to show up, this little menu. It's going to show up, and I can change the strip background. And here is where I can select it to be this video. Or if I want to upload a picture of my own, I can do that, which is most likely probably something that you want to do. And some of the things with, I think sometimes people ask about, what if I want my page to look exactly a certain way and having the picture be aligning with certain text? You can do that with a background image. So one option, let's say you want to create something like this. One option is to create a strip of different widgets of the block of the book here, or the text and the button over here, or you could have a background image, just like kind of tricks that you can do that can apply to everything, not only this. But the other option that you can do is create a background image of exactly the size, and you just have a picture of your book on the left, and then you can, this part will be blank, and so then that will allow you to create the text and as well as the button at the bottom. Not saying that you want to do this, but just saying is an option. This is how you can play with using images as well as the Wix site creator to build something that you want. Let me see if there's any questions thus far. No other questions. So you want to really go in here and explore how you can change it. Don't try to make it perfect the first time. Just click on different things, see how they look, see what they're like, and then see how you like them. This is a little bit of a strange picture, but in the milk, that is interesting. But let me go back to the left. So the add button is what I personally use the most. The add button on the left will allow you to add anything, not edit stuff, but add anything. And on the very left, this is the hierarchy of strips, and then these are different categories, or text, different categories, images, different categories. So this is how the hierarchy work, but this will allow you to add pretty much anything to the website. So strips is different. You can think of them as different sections on the website. So let's say that I'm going to add the strips. I just left click. You can drag or drop, or you can click on it. I'm just going to click on it. And this will, it's just a section. It's just a section. And I can move it around. I can push it down. I can put it up. This is at the very, very bottom right now. But if I want to bring it up, I'm going to scroll. I can, oh, sometimes scrolling is a little bit hard. I have to move it and then scroll, move up, scroll, move up, scroll. So you do have to play around with this a little bit, but let me just, oh, oops, I did something. Ooh. And also using Control Z, that will be your best friend. Undo, undo, undo. If you did something, just Control Z, and I can move, 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 move. I believe there was a question. No, okay. So you see that once I move it up here, it doesn't fit. There's no more space here. So what I can do is I can go to the back. So let's say the strip of this back, and I can come over here at the very bottom and then find this button that, or an arrow key, a button, and then I'm going to stretch it out. I can stretch it out, and this will allow me to have a little bit more space. Oh, a little bit more space, and put it at the bottom. Whereas the very top, I can still reserve that room. And if I want to have more space, I can stretch it down a little more and put it at the bottom like this. So now the landing page blocks off that part, and I only see this once I scroll down, which, not saying that this is a good design, and whether it's good design or not, that's very, very debatable, but this is what you can do. Let's go back to here to add, to see what type of things you can add. And I would definitely recommend you doing that, because the number one thing about building a website when you don't have any experience is you don't know what you don't know. So you didn't know that, oh, you could put like a video. Maybe you didn't know that you could have a video as a background as opposed to like a picture, and that's a lot more live. Maybe you didn't know that you could have a store where people can purchase it, or like booking, or that you like a calendar that people can click on your website and then they book it. Or you know that you can do this on other websites, but you didn't know that you could do this on your own website as well. That's what I mean. So you want to go ahead and explore everything. Let's grid, what exactly does that do? Drag it out, play with it to see how that works. And then let's go to the next widget. The color. So you can have different color themes that they give you, but for the most part, I never really found this really helpful, because a lot of the color schemes, it comes with the templates that I work with, and I like to use my own color themes instead. And let me actually, on the topic of color themes, let me give you a couple of more other tools for you to use that can help you build like the perfect websites you want. So one thing that actually, let me go to color first, and then I have another tool that I want to share. So sometimes you will see websites that have really beautiful colors. They really complement each other. They're aesthetically just so soothing. And there are websites that are just, So how do people do this? How do people come up with beautiful colors that work together? Well, there is actually color color wheel. Color wheels. There's so many different options. Let me choose something that might be good. Let me take a look over here really quick. There's so many different options, and sorry, I did not prepare this part. I did not think that I would do this, but hey, I think this will be, now that I'm talking to you guys about it, I think this will be pretty complimentary. Color palettes. Okay, perfect. Here we go. So, no. Okay, so these are the, once I typed in color palette, these are the two that I found. Actually, once I typed in color palette, and I'll send a link in the description below. Actually, I want to show you three. On this website, I can choose a color. Let's say I choose red. Let's say I want this to be my base color. This color with this color code. It'll show me the different colors that are analogous to each other. And in terms of what exactly these means, I'm not going to go too deep into that for now, but the different color combination is what you want to look for. So complementary are complementary. There's a monochromatic. These are generally the big text versus a small text, or the different backgrounds. Analogous. These are the colors that in harmony really work well together. Triadic, tetradic. So this is just to give you an idea. This is how people find out what colors work together. Now, let's say that you don't even know where to start. There is a site, well, there's actually a lot of different websites, but the one that I'm looking at right now is called colorhunt.co, and they give you a lot of different color palettes. So this is exactly what we want to look for. We want to see what kind of feeling do we want our website to look like, and this actually might be helpful for designing your book, or the whatchamacallit, the front cover of your book as well. What color goes together? What kind of feeling do they give you? So these are all created by people, and they put it on this website, and you can scroll through them to see, does it give you any inspiration? So let's say that you really like this color palette and you really like this number. Maybe you don't really want these other color, but you really like this number, because we can't just kind of pull color out of thin air. We need to actually see inspiration. What you can do is you can copy this color code, and you can put it into wheels like this, and then look at different monochromatic, complementary, analogous. What do they look like? Of course, this could or could not be your color palette, but it's good for you to see how you can choose your color. And then this is another website that you can create a palette. So I'm just gonna click on Start Generator, and I can type in the color. Oh, spacebar. Okay, I want to type in a color, and I'm not sure why it does not let me do that. I've never used this website before, but if I click on spacebar, it gives me random color palette. I'm sure it'll give you a color palette based on the color, one color that you choose, but it seems like this is probably like a paid version. But let me just put this on the chat below in case anyone is curious. But let's go back to our website. So once we choose, so that's another option for you to choose your color, which I think it's actually pretty important, and I think most people gloss over, it doesn't matter what the color is, but it actually makes a huge difference about what the readers and the consumers, people that are looking at your website, feel about what is this message you're trying to convey. Let's go to apps. So what these apps means is kind of like extensions that you can add onto your website. They're not always going to be the most useful. They're not always going to always work, but you can choose based on the ratings that users give. So the beautiful thing about a place like Wix is anyone that use these apps, they can rate it, and you can too. So for example, Instagram feed, what this will do is have a section on your website that as your Instagram, your let's say someone liked your picture, you can put that on your website and that'll be live. Not something that you would really want for now, but just as an example of these are different things that you can have on your website. And a lot of times when you're thinking about, you don't have to go through all of this to see what you want to put everything, but do definitely go through them to see what is available to get an idea of what type of things you can use. And as you go on and build your website, one really useful thing to do is, let's say you're thinking about, I want to, for example, like the Instagram, I want to put a Instagram feed to show my readers how many people are liking my book. Then you can type in Google Wix Instagram Live, and then a lot of times that will give you really good results. Just make sure to tag the word Wix in there. And then at the next one is different media. Well, media meaning pictures, videos, or you can even put your social media on there. The whole blog, the write a blog thing, you can write the blog however, it's kind of tricky. So technically, you can create a new page and then just type in your text of the blog, like all the text that you want, or you can create using Wix built-in tools to create, we call it a CMS. It's pretty much kind of like a shelf, a collection of all the blogs or newspaper articles that you have, and then having a section on your website where it automatically populates those. So you don't have to, for every new blog, every new website, create the same format, like kind of duplicate all of it, create the same format, same title, same text fonts, and then recreate the whole formatting thing, which is the thing that's going to take you the most time. But you can automatically populate, let's say, 5 different blogs or 5 different news articles. So that would be something that's really useful to do. And I know that I'm on a little time on time. I want to give more time for questions, but let me just go in here and change some of these texts and show you how to do that really quick. So for all these fonts color, you can completely change them. And to do it, you just left click, simple as that, on a piece of text, edit the text, and you can either type in the actual text itself, or you can change the themes, which these are just preloaded font style for you. But specifically, you can change the font itself. So let's say I want Helvetica font 16. I want it to be bold. I want the color to be green, for example. Boom, you've already changed it. And then you can put your title, Little Red Riding Hood. And these, once I click on this, notice that there's this line that restricts it from going beyond. This is applied to all of these blocks, which is really nice for keeping things consistent, and consistency is #1 key for building aesthetically beautiful website. But if you want to, you can drag this out. You can. Just letting you know that you can. And then as well as the bottom as well, you can drag this out if this is something that's going to go over, but I don't want to do that right now, so I'm going to just do Control Z for undo and undo. Let's look at the buttons. So once I left click on this button is going to be linked to other pages, which I have on here, menus and pages. I have a lot of different pages, but I want to see what page this is linked to. So I can do change text and either change the text itself or add a link to this. So if I click on add a link, I'm going to go to a page. If this is something that's internal, I'm going to go to a page. I'm going to do, let's say, I don't know, F8 product page. And I can either have it open it in a new window or a current window. I always recommend new window because you don't want to take people away from your website unless if it's like they're buying a product. But if it's, let's say, like an About Us page, you always want to take them to a new window because once they finish reading the About Us, they can come back to your website and buy your products. But if it's a products that they want to purchase, then you want to keep them on the same website. You don't want to distract them by anything else. But I'm going to go for new window. Done. And that's what I can do. Alternatively, let me click on the linking again. You can either link it to a web address, which means in an external website outside of your website, or anchors. Anchors just means different sections within your page. So you can link it to a different page, different anchors. So sometimes if you click on, let's say, boom, learn more, and then the page scroll really fast to the very bottom, that's what these anchors are, because you have created you linked it to an anchor at the very bottom. You can do top of the page, bottom of the page, a document, if it's a PDF document, or an email that says email us or call us. I'm not really sure what this light box is, but for the sake of time, I'm just gonna skip this for now. One really important thing: if there's nothing else that you learn today, if there's nothing else, the only thing that you want to know, the only thing you need to know is every time you make a change, and I mean every single time, literally every time, click on the save button. Oh, actually autosave is on. I'm so sorry. They just had autosave. The last time I used it, they didn't have autosave. And so what we have to do is we have to keep on saving it, and then things would not save. But make sure you have it on autosave if you don't have it. But I see so many people losing their work because of it. So make sure you have that. Make sure it says it's saved. Autosave is on. But before we do anything else, let's go ahead and publish this to see what it looks like. So notice that this link website, this site or domain right now is super complicated. It has my username in it, has a Wix site / my sites, and yes, I can click on view sites. And then this is what I mean by creating a new page. A new page as opposed to the current page. Notice how it did that as opposed to changing this site, because it knows that you just want to see what your sites look like. You probably want to keep on editing this, so you don't want to exit out of this page. So these are the things to think about when you're making these decisions about your website. What do you want the user to do? So here is the website that you have, and yes, it's going to say like, oh, this site was designed by Wix.com. So you don't want to have something like this. So what you will have to do is link this to your own domain, as well as pay for the non-free version, which I think it's like $20 a month. I think totally worth it for something like this. But here you can connect it to your own branded domain. You can either do it here, which this is just a very convenient way for them to get you to purchase their premium, or you can go into the settings. I'm going to click out of this really quick. Go into the setting at the very top and then connect to domain. And then here you can put in the domain that you bought and go through that whole process. Connect to a domain that you already own. Of course, we have to upgrade. Let me just click on this to show you this really quick. So I always go with, for the first time using it, I always go with the very lowest, because if I find that if I want more, I can always upgrade. But if I find out that I don't need as much, I'm not actually going to find out, because it's going to encompass everything that I do, and I'm going to think that, oh, everything is great, but in reality, I really maybe needed this tier as opposed to that tier. So I'm not going to go and upgrade right now, but as you can see, there are some of the differences. Some of the biggest thing is how many video hours. So if you have a really long video on there, which most of us is not going to, the video in the landing page is only probably like 10 seconds. So 30 minutes, that's quite a lot. Ad vouchers, you don't need any of this. And this is why I say that selecting the lowest will be good for most of us right now. But let me check I'm going to leave this really quick. I'm going to check if there's any questions. Does that add a link to the landing page? Sorry, Paul, I did not see this question in time enough, I guess, to understand the context of what you're asking about. Link to the landing page. Are you talking about the domain name? If that is yes, then yes. If you would like to clarify your questions, that will be really great. Another thing I do want to mention with different websites, especially with domain name, is sometimes what people also do is they buy multiple websites. They buy multiple websites and they have these, domain name. And they have these domain name connect to each other. So as an example, what we do is for generally when people ask us, oh, what is our website's name, we will tell them orchardinfo.com, or I will send this out over an email, orchardinfo.com, and it'll take us directly to our website. But if, let's say, I'm on the radio or I'm on TV and says, oh, where can people find you? I personally feel like info is, it might be hard to completely 100% like info, like info, there might be a little bit of a question. So I would do, what we did is, I believe is Orchard Tech Support. Let me just check really quick. But what we bought a different domain name, orchardtechsupport.com. Yes, it is. orchardtechsupport.com. That, you see how that changed to orchardinfo.com. So because when I'm on radio or TV, I had to say out the domain name. You want something that people can remember, that they can infer how to spell out instead of something really obscure. So you want to have it as something like Orchard Tech Support, which is easy to remember. Orchard Tech Support. It's easy to remember. People associate us with like tech coaching, tech support, and so it just directly take us to the other this domain. So that's another thing that you can do if hypothetically you're booking a lot of PR stuff with TVs and you want to direct people to your website, or if you want to have like nancyhuntbook.com and let's say you have a name for all of a domain name for every single one of your book, Little Red Riding Hood, threelittlepigs.com, and all of them take you to nancyhunt.com, which has a collection of all your books. You can do that as well. So all you will have to do is buy the domain name and then forward them. And these are settings that you can change in your GoDaddy account, and then forward all of them to the website that you want. Opening a new window. So it depends on. Does that add a link to the? It depends on what you do. So if you add a button that goes to your landing page, then yeah, it'll create a new page of your landing page in a new window. But if this is something, let's say it's your store, then it'll create a new page to your store as opposed to your landing page. So it depends on what is the link itself, as well as whether it changes this current page or create a new page of it. Eric says, I'm looking at Wix. They offer free website and domain hosting, but I can't find what limitation exists for the free version. Yes, so Eric, the free limitation is this. So if you look at here, my domain name is not like themingyang.com, which is super clean, which is what I want. It's themingyang0.wixsite.com/mysite. So if you're an author and you want to establish credibility, you would not want this junky domain name to be your website name. So you want to have something clean. This is the free version they're talking about. So this is free for as long as you like, but once you want to connect to a domain name, it will be, you'll have to pay for that. As in addition, the very top that says this site was designed with Wix.com website builder, this is gonna keep being here on the free version until you pay for it. I hope that answers your question. Also, what offers domain name? Okay. So it's when they say the offer domain name, they don't really offer the domain name. They are another service provider for buying these domains. So if you go to GoDaddy or Wix or Namecheap, all of these are going to have the same result. If you search for, let's say, is themingyang.com available? None of them is going to say that it is available because it's purchased by someone. But all they would do is they have access to be able to allow you to purchase these, and they're kind of like a vendor. So Wix is one of the vendor. They weren't the original vendor because Wix as a company, they first started as a website builder, and then over time, as they grew more, they started to now allow you to purchase the domain directly on the Wix website too, and that's why the option is there. But for the most part, I like to go with GoDaddy because it gives me more flexibility, as well as if you want to use, let's say, WordPress or Squarespace or Wix, all of these will probably have some functionality embedded to buy your domain like on the platform, but GoDaddy is an independent component that you can buy, and then you can connect to a lot of different things. And I think we are at time. I don't know if anyone has any other questions, and Allison is, I think we have to communicate with just chat, so I don't know, Allison. Oh, there we go. I don't know, Allison, how you want to wrap this up. You're most welcome. Oh, also, if anyone has any questions, you can find me on at Ming with this email, ming@orchardinfo.com, and I'll put this on the chat as well. Paul says, can I change my templates and not have to redo everything on the website? Unfortunately, no. You can change the widgets and all of these. So for example, you can change this is the site itself. You can come in here and change, kind of completely delete the strip. So that's what I just did. I just completely deleted the strip. You can do that, but it's you won't, yeah, like I can completely delete the strip, but you will not be able to kind of transfer the website with different templates once you started one. Oh, I know. One thing that you can do to minimize choosing the wrong templates is just creating a whole bunch of different websites and then using a whole bunch of different templates to take like a good couple of hours to see which one you want. So going back to what we were talking about, how you can create like 10 different websites. They're all free. They're completely free. 10 different websites. You can have 10 different websites and all use a different templates and evaluate which one you want to get started. I definitely recommend using the one that has most functionality of what you would want eventually, so that you could have as much already there for you. No problem. And I think that is it. If not, I'm going to, Allison, I will let you give me the permission to close this, or I don't know how you want to. You're most welcome. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. Hope you learned something. Bye-bye.